The boy was small for his age, skinny, dirt-streaked, and wearing boots that looked 3 sizes too big. When the rancher first saw him, the child was hauling a barrel of water up a hill behind the general store, his shoulders trembling, his lips chapped and bleeding in the desert wind. $50, said the storekeeper. That's what the mine paid me for him. You want him, same price. The rancher stared at the boy. He'd come into town for supplies, not a child. But something about those eyes, wide, gray, and utterly hollow, made him stop cold. The boy didn't speak, didn't even look up. 50. The rancher muttered. He eat. Not much. Works better hungry. That sentence twisted something deep inside the rancher. He'd been called many things, heartless, stubborn, broke, but he wasn't cruel. I'll take him. He slapped a $50 bill on the counter, and the storekeeper grinned, relieved to be rid of the burden. The boy's name was Eli. The ride back to the ranch was quiet. The boy didn't ask where they were going, didn't flinch when the horse stumbled, didn't look at the setting sun bleeding over the canyon. He just held on to the saddle horn, his small hands white-knuckled, like someone waiting for pain that never stopped coming. Eat, the rancher asked when they reached the ranch house. He handed the boy a piece of bread and a tin of beans. Eli nodded once, then devoured the food like a half-starved wolf. The rancher, his name was Wade Connelly, watched in silence. He'd seen bad things in his 40 years. Drought, bandits, the death of his wife and unborn child. But there was something worse in that boy's silence. Something that didn't belong to childhood. He put the boy to work the next morning. Light chores. Feeding the chickens. Brushing down the horses. Eli did everything without a word, moving with mechanical precision, never looking Wade in the eye. By the 3rd day, Wade noticed the scars. Across his back, thin as wire but deep. Old lash marks. Wade said nothing. But that night, when the boy slept on a pile of hay, Wade sat on the porch, watching the stars and drinking black coffee, wondering what kind of man did that to a child. 2 weeks later, a storm rolled in from the south. The sky turned black, and the wind howled through the empty plains. Wade was out fixing a fence post when lightning struck the far ridge. "Get the horses inside," he yelled. But before he could reach the barn, one of the mares panicked, Bella, a skittish roan with a bad leg. She broke through the fence, galloping straight into the canyon. Wade ran after her, shouting, cursing, trying to keep up. Then, to his horror, Eli sprinted past him, barefoot, into the storm. "Boy, stop," Wade bellowed. But Eli didn't. He chased the mare like his life depended on it. By the time Wade caught up, the boy had cornered Bella near a rock wall, whispering to her softly. She was trembling, wild-eyed, ready to bolt, but somehow, the child had his hands on her neck, calming her with quiet words Wade couldn't hear. Then lightning struck again, so close it threw them both to the ground. When Wade reached them, Eli was shielding the horse with his small body. Afterward, when the storm finally passed, Wade carried the boy back home. Eli's hands were burned and bleeding. "You're a fool," Wade muttered, bandaging the wounds with strips of cloth. "A damn fool." But inside, he felt something break, like the silence between them wasn't so empty anymore. Weeks turned into months. Eli began to talk, just a little. Enough to answer simple questions. Enough to hum to the horses when he worked. He loved the animals, especially Bella. He'd brush her mane for hours, whispering things only she seemed to understand. Wade found himself watching more often than he meant to. The ranch, long dead and quiet since his wife's passing, began to feel alive again. He caught himself cooking extra food. Teaching the boy how to ride, how to shoot, how to mend fences. "Where'd you learn to calm horses like that?" Wade asked one day. Eli hesitated. "My ma used to." Before he stopped, Wade waited. But the boy didn't finish. The first trouble came that fall. 3 men rode into the valley, miners from the north. The same kind that used boys like beasts of burden. Wade knew their type. Drunk, mean, and always looking for easy money. The leader, a red-bearded man with eyes like shards of glass, grinned when he saw Eli. "Well, I'll be damned. That's the one that ran," he said, spitting tobacco. "Didn't figure I'd see that brat again." Eli froze, pale as bone. Wade stepped forward. "You got business here?" "Yeah, that kid's ours." "Not anymore." The man laughed. "You buy him fair, rancher. Paid 50 for him. That's more than you ever gave. Then I'll buy him back. Double." Wade's jaw tightened. He ain't for sale." The laughter stopped. The red-bearded man dismounted, hand drifting toward his revolver. "You sure about that?" Wade didn't move. "You take one more step toward that boy, and you'll meet your maker faster than you planned." For a tense second, the only sound was the wind. Then the men backed off, muttering curses, mounting up again. But Wade knew it wasn't over. That night, he loaded his rifle and sat by the window. Eli couldn't sleep. He stood in the doorway, trembling. "They'll come back," the boy whispered. "Let 'em," Wade said. "Ain't no one taking you again." The attack came 3 nights later. The ranch was dark when the first gunshot shattered the window. Wade shoved Eli to the floor, grabbed his rifle, and fired back. One man dropped near the barn. Another tried sneaking around the back. Wade shot him clean through the leg. But the third one, the red-bearded bastard, snuck inside. He caught Eli by the arm, jerking him up. "You thought you could run from me, brat." The boy struggled, screaming. Wade spun around, firing. The bullet hit the man square in the chest. He fell hard, dragging Eli down with him. The silence that followed was deafening. Eli stared at the body, shaking uncontrollably. Wade knelt beside him. "It's over, boy," he said softly. "Ain't nobody gonna hurt you now." Eli threw his arms around Wade's neck and sobbed for the first time since Wade had met him. The sound tore through the room like thunder. Months later, when spring came again, Wade took Eli to town to register him as his ward. The clerk raised an eyebrow. "You sure you want that responsibility, Mr. Connelly?" "Kid's not blood. He's mine," Wade said simply. Paper or not, they left town with fresh supplies and new clothes for Eli. As they rode home, the boy looked up at Wade and smiled for the first time, a real smile. "Thank you," he whispered. Wade nodded, his throat too tight to speak. The ranch was quiet when they arrived. Bella neighed softly in the corral. The air smelled of rain and earth and second chances. Wade looked over the land, the fences, the sky stretching forever. He'd lost everything once, his wife, his child, his purpose. But now, watching the boy tend to the horses, hearing him laugh as a foal nuzzled his hand, Wade understood something he never had before. Family wasn't always born. Sometimes, it was bought by accident, rescued from cruelty, and rebuilt in the dust and wind. And sometimes, it came in the form of a small, silent boy who had every reason to stop believing in goodness, until one broken rancher refused to let him go. That night, under a sky full of silver stars, Eli whispered before sleep, "Pa." Wade froze. Then, quietly, he answered, "Yeah, son. I ain't scared no more." Wade smiled into the darkness. "Good," he said. "You never will be again." Outside, the wind carried the sound of peace across the plains, a sound neither of them had heard in a long, long time.